Welcome to Patch with Patch Bae. I'm Patch Bae. We're here with the legendary Matt Weiss.
And that's
legendary.
me. And we are here with my good friend, Grammy nominated. Are you platinum? Multi-platinum?
I don't think
at
so.
least gold.
Somewhere there.
Very, very accomplished producer, Samik Ganguly,
Hey.
aka Symphony, aka Sam if you're the Starbucks barista. Yeah, I'm keeping that joke.
That's okay.
I'm staying with it. It's fine. We've known each other
I'm gonna
for
CGI that out.
probably more than 20 years now.
Friendship.
20 friendship, yes. Points for friendship. So I'm really excited for this interview. Let's kick it back over to Patch to kick things off.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm here to get to know you a
Oh.
little bit, right? Because
Okay.
I don't heard things, but I haven't met you yet. So let's start off with a fun fact
Oh,
before we get into all the crazy details.
let's do it. What's the...
I hear you were in a boy band at one point.
Yeah.
How was that?
My buddy was like, hey, I'm going to do my high school talent show. Do you want to, like, help me do something? Like, we should do, like, a thing. And I'm like, no.
I would not.
I don't want to do that at all. So we ended up doing it and winning. And
winning?
yeah, we won the talent show, and then we won like another one the year after. But like he was already out of high school, so his brother was graduating. So we went back for his talent show. And at that point, we're like, yo, we should probably do this in other places outside of a high school. And then we did. Our first thing was for this. Like we got called to do this like 4th of July celebration. And they're like, hey, it's this like, thing we do in a park. Some people should show up. 6,000 people showed up to this thing. And we had brought like stages. We had like entire like mic systems, everything. Half the guys couldn't sing, but that's all right. So anyways, long story short, I was like, after a couple of years of that, I was like, this is probably not going to be the thing that really does it. So I was looking for an out. And then my buddy was like, hey, we're opening a recording studio. We're starting a record label. I was like, oh, cool. They're like, let's, come by the studio. The studio was his mom's basement next to like a cat litter box, but they had Pro Tools.
Cat litter box.
It was literally his name was Max, beautiful cat, Maine Coon. My buddy Ivan, he's like, yo, help us with paperwork. You can, use the studio. And I was like, okay, cool. Once he showed me how to like trigger record on the MPC and then hit the key, kick drum goes in, records it, and he trimmed the front and back of it. I was like, I don't need you anymore. You can go away. So after like maybe 2 days, I didn't leave his mom's house. I was just downstairs like fucking around with the MPC. It was the MPC 60, Roger Lynn edition, 62. So I was like just zoned in on trying to make beats. And at the same time, I had gotten a copy of Fruity Loops at Sam Ash. They had a demo version. So what I was doing, I was going to the studio, but when I was going home on my dad's PC, I would remake all my favorite Neptune's beats, Timbaland beats, and I would try to get it to sound just like, just like the actual record. And then I think from there, just doing that, and I was just, when I get focused on something, I just keep like, I just want to dig deeper and know more about it. Except for producing in mono for about 6 years. I was trying to figure that out, but
Whatever. Translated to club systems perfectly.
Absolutely.
Every time.
Every time.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it's me. Essentially, that was my start.
Our connection came when you started doing beat battles.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Actually,
Well,
our
random.
connection, right? So this is something I don't talk about very
Matt
often.
used to be a rapper.
I started as a rapper.
Yeah, so we should really be
I'm
interviewing.
learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning.
There's a lot of information to take in for one interview, but Matt used to be a rapper.
Yep.
And I wouldn't say used to be, still raps.
You still
Not really.
So
From
Reggie's-
time to I still collaborate with Rand and do vocals.
for sure.
But I don't do it the way that I was doing it back when we met.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
doing it.
I'm gonna need to hear something.
Yeah, I mean, he had some shit. There's a song called Push that, was it Push? You produced that?
I produced that.
Yeah.
That was back when I was making beats.
That's when Matt was making beats. So
Yeah.
I remember listening. That was one of my favorite songs on this album that we both worked on together for an artist named Random, also known as Mega Ran.
Yep.
And we're all, all three of us from Philly, and we kind of we met at like his release party.
We're getting the lore.
Yeah.
We're getting the lore.
Yeah.
No, it's such an interesting thing because Matt I've known for 20 years now.
21. Yeah.
21 years.
21 years.
Yeah, and like we kind of just been homies since like day one.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started really the way I became good at mixing was pretty much mixing your stuff.
That's crazy.
Because you were the one who was sending me the most records, cause you were doing the iStandard beat
Right,
battles.
that's right. Yeah.
And that was a really good way because I heard all of my stuff live and I could see the crowd react to be like, if my mix hits, we were having the same experience, but it was yours was the beat and mine was the mix.
So we would go in trying to be like, how do we make this thing hit harder than everybody else's shit? How do we make like the thing like stand out? And because I used 8,000 tracks, and Matt was the first person to be like, "Hey, Matt, like this is a lot of shit. You gotta calm down. It's a lot of shit."
I remember there was one where we were in the back of a cab or something like that in New York, going to the iStandard event. This might even have been the one that you won. Yeah. And we were working on your set, on the mix, in the cab, on the laptop.
I would do that often. A lot of trips to New York, I would be like, I would be driving, my brother would be holding my laptop, and I'd have like the Slate digital thing, I had the aux cable into the speakers, and I'd be like leveling the mix on the way to the event, try to like figure out if it would sound good or not. But yeah, Matt and I have been working on that stuff I think that was a really, really good process, I feel like.
That was an amazing process because it was such a sink or swim. Like there was the crowd, the judges, maybe they give you a little bit of something. Sure. But the crowd was going to give you an honest reaction.
For sure, absolutely.
And actually, when did you DJ in Manayunk?
So I was a DJ since I was 14. So I started DJing at a skating rink. So back to the whole how I started thing, right? Yeah. So I played violin from when I was like 7, 8 years old. I played for about 9, 10 years, and I was taught by ear with the Suzuki method. So it was ear training for about 10 years. But I feel like that and learning how to DJ when I was young, and then learning from people who knew how to DJ, like that was a big deal because the reaction that you would get is real time, right? You play 10 seconds of a shit record, like in a set, it's done.
It's
I don't
dead.
Know, can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can fuck up a whole vibe. So like one of the things I learned early on was how to keep the room happy, right? So that translated into doing beat battles. And then also I was DJing, as I went on from the roller skating rink, I would DJ at like clubs or events or whatever. I would DJ at this place called Castle Rocks in Manayunk in Philadelphia, and we would test records in the actual club, like on a random like Friday night when I'm like working doing my set. Like, hold on a second, let's see what this mix sounds like.
I had such a brutal moment. You were so cool with me because I remember I took a couple of my records that I was working on that weren't yours specifically, and one of them was a Space Cowboy record, and it was called Thank You. Record, it was called Thank You DJ. This was in 2011 or 2012. Yeah. And I was really thinking that the mix was good, and then I heard it on that system, and it was not, and the energy dipped, and you cut it after the first chorus, thankfully, and that was my moment where I was like, I still have a ways to go.
Yeah, wow. I think it's just that honest reaction, that real-time reaction, and I was thinking about this earlier today, was probably the best thing that happened. Like, I think that's one of the biggest tools that I gained from DJing and doing beat battles like early on.
Just anticipating and like trusting the reaction.
Well, it's like how do you keep these people entertained, right? Like you can produce a record and like, man, my intros used to be long as fuck, bro. My intros were like, I was like, wait for it, like, bro, like no one's gonna want to listen to this shit, bro. It's so crazy. So like my intros literally now are like 2 bars, literally, if that. I'm like, start the fucking song. Let's get this fucking song.
Don't give
going.
them a chance to skip it.
No, I mean, you got the thing about beat battles, right? Everybody in that situation, for the most part, all of our friends, right? All of our friends are some of the best producers that came from that environment because we all kind of either everybody had experience doing something in front of a crowd, and now like the guys who are producers on like Beyonce records and like some of the biggest records out there are the guys who came from this circuit. So we were all together in the same class of like producers, and we all kind of were going against who can wow these people the most. Like, and it's a room full of producers, full of music industry people or whatever, and very few like actual civilians. I feel like the homies would come like for people, but like how do you,
Lots
it
of
was
millions.
producing for producers essentially. It's
Wow.
like, how do you wow these people who are all really good at what they do?
And the biggest haters.
And the biggest
Yeah.
fucking bro, you
They're not
go to
gonna hold
Philadelphia or New York? Oh my
yeah,
god,
on
bro.
the East Coast at that.
What? Listen, you can't buy that kind of crowd response. Like, what is it when they like all like look at a movie or whatever? Like it's when they have people in a room. What's the thing called?
Like
The
a
term?
focus group.
Yeah, it's like a focus. You can't.
Yeah.
It's the best focus group. Like you can ask for as a producer. I think those beat battles.
So that's where you feel like you grew the most as production.
Well, no, you know what's
way?
funny? I feel like doing beat battles really helped get to a place where I can build moments in records.
Okay.
But the converse effect of that, the opposite effect that happens is, if you're producing for producers, you're not producing for your fans or the people who are actually listening to me. No one gives a fuck about your drop. Like, bro, like, no one gives a fuck about your 6 dB snare boost. Like, right when this drum comes in, like, you know what I'm saying?
That was going to bring me into a question I had for you, actually, which is, not just what you have taken with you from the beat battle days, but now you're a song producer. You're making records for Kehlani. You're making like Kehlani is not looking for all of the producers in the crowd to go, oh shit. She's looking to make people dance on the dance floor. She's like people enraptured into a song. So what did you keep from the beat battle days? But also, what did you have to get rid of?
I think overproducing is what I had to get rid of.
What does overproducing mean?
Overproducing, I feel like when you're trying to fill up the entire space, all the space. And if you think about, like, at least for me, growing up in the era of the Neptunes and Timbaland and a lot of these producers who sounded like they had so much shit going on, but it's literally like 6 sounds, that really made me think about things where I was like, yo, these people are grinding is 4 sounds. It's the last 4 keys on a Korg Trinity keyboard. It's the last 4 keys. You hit each one of those keys, it's the exact beat for grinding. You just put it in sequence. But like they were able to do something with 4 sounds. That was a huge fucking record for just 4 or 5 sounds. And I think that was very, very I'm like, why am I such a fan of this music and yet I'm over here fucking throwing everything at the wall? And I think there's 2 sides to it. One is I think you have to throw everything at the wall. I think you have to know how far can you really fill up this entire picture, right? And then what really needs to be there. Right? Like what really needs to be here. And I think later on, like with the more recent stuff, the Kehlani stuff, the ZAYN stuff, it became so much more to me about the artist. And I'm just here to serve that. I don't know. Did that answer your question?
I think
feel
that
like we went
definitely,
all over the place.
but it's a really good, because if you look at that mentality, it brings you to what maybe would adequately be described as your big break, although that's not really how life works.
Yeah.
But, the first big record was the ZAYN record.
Yeah, that was the first
I'm
one.
so well prepared. I've managed to forget the name of, like, on the spot.
Unfuckwittable.
Unfuckwittable. How can I even
Yeah. It's one of those things where the coolest things are where you don't remember exactly how it happens, but then you're already in the second verse and doing backgrounds and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, oh wow, it's so effortless how that song came about. And the artist we were doing it for loved it, and like we cut it on her, and essentially, that song is one of the reasons why I got to work with Timbaland, which was like a big deal for me because I was such a fucking Timbaland nerd, Timbaland Danger, Jim Bean's nerd.
Spending the first 5 years, 10
learning
years,
how to
trying
make this
to
shit.
Emulate it. And
All the questions I had, I didn't even ask him, which was really funny. So. Yeah.
How was that? How was it like idolizing him for so long and listening to him and being inspired and then going from that to working with him?
I'll tell this story now. I ended up going to New York. He had an album come out called Shock Value 2. Shock Value 1 was incredible. 2, I had no idea it was coming out. I had no idea. And I would because, I'm the biggest Timbaland fan in the world. And I was told by my buddy Ivan, who had helped me start this whole thing, he was like, hey, yo, Tim's going to be in New York. Like, you got to come to New York. It was in some newspaper. We didn't have social media then. So I went up.
In 2019.
The
old days.
No, this was 2006, I think.
Oh, no. So we really didn't have social media.
We didn't have Instagram.
Unless you were in
shit.
college.
Like Facebook, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, I take the last change that I had. I had $38 and change. Bought a train ticket to New York. Went up to this thing, and then I had seen Ivan. Ivan was just like, I was like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna get back. I was like, I spent the last money I had getting up here. And he's like, just, you should pay me back later or whatever. He gave me like $40. I used half of that to buy Shock Value 2. And he's doing a signing. Tim shows up. It's like February or something. And what I had done was I had gotten an iPod Touch for Christmas that year. I had went up, I put like 10 of my best records on there, and I left I taped my contact information like completely to the back of it. So my idea was going to be give him the iPod. And so I finally like get to the front of the line, and he's not in a good mood. I can just sense he's not very happy. I guess maybe it was the turnout for the album or the promotion or whatever happened. I'm not going to speculate, but whatever. He didn't seem, everybody has an off day, so he didn't seem like he was having the best day. So I get to the front of the line, and I hand him, he's not even looking at me. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is fucking Tim. So I was like, yo, I just want to say thank you, bro. I was like, you literally inspired me to make music. Like, I'm here literally because of you. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to give you this. And he didn't look up at me. He just signed the CD, and like, he just pointed this way. And I was like, okay. But I was like, do you want me to hand this to you? And he just pointed that way. I was like, and his assistant comes over and goes, I'll take that. I was like, thanks, man. I was like, if you get a chance. I don't think I said it that nicely, but I think I was like, oh, okay. Now,
because thinking he's probably never going to get it at this point.
One of the things that happens with me is when someone says or makes me feel a certain way, I will spend every bit of energy on like doing everything I can, because I was like, yo, I need to step my shit up. I'm gonna get on, and then I'm gonna see him one day. I'm
gonna see him one day.
I'm gonna see him one day.
That's called foreshadowing.
So essentially, this happened way back when. I forgot about it. I didn't forget about it. Time went on.
I could never forget about it.
And then one of the coolest things was, I think it was like 2018 or something like that, and Cadence was in Miami with Timbaland. And Cadence is a good friend of mine.
Shout out to Cadence. Another amazing person.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. Phenomenal writer, person, human being, everything, all the above. So Cadence hits me up and goes, somebody wants to say hi to you. And Timbaland grabs the phone. And I'm like, this is before I worked on it. I was like, I'm trying to turn into my development or whatever. I'm gonna fucking crash. Like, bro, like, what's
trying to talk
what's
to
up,
you
Tim? Like, he goes, bro, I need you to send everything, send all the, all samples, all beats, whatever. It's like, this shit is crazy. I was like, can I call you back? I'm like,
you should have been like, go listen to the iPad Touch that I what?
From 16 years ago.
From 16 years ago.
I already gave it to you. It's on your iPad Touch.
No, I was like, ha! No, I'm just kidding. I was so blown away that Cadence was like, you already sent it. So I sent a bunch of stuff, and never heard anything back. But it's all right. But the year after, I ended up working with him, and then that was incredible. He was like the most incredible fucking like mentor in a session. Like, I think working with him just showed me like it taught me a lot in the sense of placement of sound, in terms of he was like the coolest, because it wasn't like I'm in there and then I'm part of the Timbaland thing, the Timbaland production, and you're just gonna beatbox. Like, literally, he was like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, can you do this thing from More Than a Woman, this little sound you do? I was like, can you pull this beatbox thing from this sound? Can you do that snare thing, but it sounds like a cracked knuckle? Like, and he was literally like, all right, I got you. I'll go in. And he listened to the beat a little bit that I had. And I was like, I kind of want this kind of a bounce to it. And he was like, yeah, we'll do this like old timey, like 60s bop to it. And he goes in and he fucking just one track after another layers his vocal. And then like the sample gets turned down, his beatbox comes up, and his like vocal, he's doing the bass line with his mouth. And I'm like, holy shit. The entire time, you can see it on my face in this video, I'm just like, I can't believe that this is happening
right now.
I was like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, that was it was one of those things where it was just so natural. It wasn't even like, oh, this is Timbaland. It was just like the me motif, the cadence, Nikki Flores, like it was just like it was incredible the way that everybody kind of just worked in in synergy, like in the room, and him being so like, I'm here to support what you guys are doing. That was the coolest thing in the world. So I think that was like so I got over
core
the
memory.
iPod. Yeah, I got over the iPod shit real quick. It's like, all right.
Does he still remember it though?
I never told him about it.
You never told him about it?
I never told him about it. I think the best thing that he said to me during that couple of days was, because I was always in the room. I was always I was like, I'm not leaving this room. I was like, we're coming out with records. And you know how I get with like certain shit. It's just like, I'm the first one in for the last one out. And he comes over to me. He goes, it's okay to walk outside. It's okay to take a break. And I was just like, huh. So first, people have said that. It's not like someone has said that. It's not like the most prophetic thing.
Yeah.
But for him to say that to me, I was like,
maybe I should take a break.
I feel like I can attest to this from a very objective point of view, because the way that we were set up back in 2016 in LA, when I dragged you by the feet.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
I just like, my whole game plan was to share this studio and just have people in it and using the studio as much as possible. So whether, no matter what, I was just like, Samik, take the studio, and you'd be like, you don't have to ask me twice. You would go in at maybe like 9 p.m. when all the day stuff was done, and you would come back at like 7, 8 in the morning or later. And that was
or
like...
until you came back.
Or till sometimes I would come back in the next day and you were still there from the night before.
Yeah.
Still drinking the water and not replacing it and not restocking it.
I couldn't afford it, man. I couldn't afford it at the time.
But the work ethic was crazy. That's why I wanted it to be you that I was pulling out, because I just knew that you were going to always be in there, bringing people into the studio. And that was like, I've talked about my game plan for how to move my career forward many times. And it's always, this part always comes up, that I came out to LA with a game plan. And the game plan was have a studio, a location, a central hub where I was just meeting people. Yeah. That was the thing that had to happen more than anything else. Money, secondary. The music, secondary. No, just people in there. And I knew that nobody had the work ethic that you had out of all of my producer friends. So that's why I was so insistent with you specifically.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, Matt called me, was like, it was between every other day was like Matt or Cadence calling me. Like, Matt would call me like, what are you doing with your life? And Cadence would be like the next day, yo, what are you doing over there in Philadelphia? Like, bro, like, what? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you are wasting. And it would literally, I got so pissed off that I went to the bar one day, and I bullshitted with my brother, and my brother's like my best friend, and my brother and my buddy Matt were in this bar. I was like, I'm moving to LA. Matt's like, he's got a spot for me for like $600-$700. I was like, I'm moving to LA. They're like, you fucking liar. Like, and at this point, I already been going to LA like every other month anyways. So I was like,
saving money at that point.
I'm just gonna fucking do it, man. I'm just gonna go. And then like literally packed my 2-door Honda Accord coupe, which I don't know if it's built for this, but like I definitely put every fucking thing in that car, except the 3 seats. We had 3 seats for me, my brother, and my buddy Matt. Excuse me, and he was videoing the entire thing, and I was making beats. I had just switched over to Ableton at that time. And we took a 10-day, 12-day trip across the country, stopping in different cities with all the beat battle homies that I've met in the last like few years. And I'd stop, do sessions, and like hang out. We'd go to like Nashville. We went to Memphis. We went to Dallas. We stopped in. We went to the Grand Canyon. We went all over the place, and we got to our last joint, and we finally got to pull up to the studio. And then that's the first place I came to in LA was the studio.
That's right.
Wow.
This is what I'm talking about. It's
the
like, this
lore
is why,
is crazy.
This is why, like, work ethic destroys everything else. Doesn't matter how talented, doesn't matter how big of a dreamer you are. It's work ethic destroys everything. Samik is the person. I didn't know that you had been stopping doing sessions along the way.
Yeah.
I thought you were sightseeing.
No,
like,
no,
but
no.
like,
We didn't have the money to sightsee.
But it makes
we had a
perfect
strict
sense.
budget. I had $1,000.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it makes perfect sense that that's what you would be doing along the way, that you would be saying, okay, well, I'm driving across the country, so I'm going to do sessions every time we stop. And then that's right. You came to the studio before you came. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
You came to the studio before you actually came to where you were living.
Yeah.
Because in reality, you were living in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and out of that studio, you know, my relationships came with Aunt Clemens, with all the Triangle Park guys. But Scott, I've already knew Scott was one of my mentors from like 2007.
They don't know who Scott is.
So Scott Carter is a mentor of mine. Triangle Park Music, they're incredible. Childish Gambino, they're actually nominated in the same category I'm nominated in, which is hilarious. That's the only reason I found out I was nominated, because Scott was on the phone when I pulled up to the gym, and he was like, "Yo," he's like, "I'm on the phone with Nettie." He's like, "You know, you're nominated too, right?" I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! Are you serious?" So, but Triangle Park Music, they're incredible, my homies. So, but yeah, so I had all these people that I was like bringing to the studio every weekend. I feel like we got way off topic on question. We're just story time now.
We have editing.
Yeah, we have to come some editing.
You know,
this is the lore. We went down to the lore.
This is going to be hard to edit for sure.
Sorry about that.
So, what are some of the production elements that you used? Like, because it sounds like you're just really into the creativity and the relationship and the vibe and kind of the storytelling. How was that process with Kehlani?
Well, you know, that situation, it's another fucking hour story. I feel like...
We're getting all the stories.
Long story short, the Kehlani thing happened because I was talking to my friend Cadence, and Cadence was with Kehlani in the DR. This was August of last year. And she was like, hey, you know, these sessions are interesting, but like mad people are leaving because something wasn't set up right, and it was a housing situation, and like it was uncomfortable for some of the, and these are like top creatives, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, something wasn't working out in one way or another, and she was like, "Hey, would you want to like, you know, send some ideas?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I sent a couple ideas, didn't really hear anything back, and I know when you don't hear anything back, it's like, it's probably not it.
Right.
So I'm, you know, that's one of my best friends. So she just, you know, is hitting me up, whatever, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna check with, you know, the people here, see if it's cool to bring you down." And then she goes, "Good news, you can come down. Bad news, everybody left, and you'd, you know, probably be the only producer here." She's like, "That's also really good news."
I was about to say that
sounds
doesn't
like really good
sound
news.
like bad news.
Yeah. So, but the bad news was, you know, that you know, at the time, I think she was kind of like not in the vibe of like, you know, okay, this is like kind of like going left a little bit. And I think that kind of threw everybody's vibe off a little bit. And this is all, you know, just speculation from secondhand information. So I wasn't there at that point, but the second that she was like, "Yo, you can come down, but the label doesn't have the money to fly you down," I spent the last like $1,000 that I had, booked the wrong flight for the night of, and then had to get an advance on this mixing fee from a homie of mine that I had done one of his records. And Kay was like, "Yo, you gotta pay him now." So he sent the money, and I had booked the right flight to the DR that next day. Got my money back for the first flight. But I get to the DR, and we drive 2 hours across to the other side of the island and to this amazing house. And I pull up. It's, you know, it's some of her homies and engineers, DTB, my guy, like AJ, Tosh is there, Cadence is there, and Kehlani's there. And it's first time meeting her. It's 9 a.m. I didn't sleep. I had gone on like I think it was a 10-hour trip. I didn't sleep. I went straight to the room and set up, and I started making shit. I was like, I just need a shower, and then I'm off the rail. I need a cup of coffee and I need a shower, maybe something to eat. And it was hot as fuck. I remember going in, first day, making shit. Kate comes up, Cadence comes up. Work on a couple ideas. She goes, "Nah, that ain't it." I was like, okay, fuck. So I go back, do something else. And then that night, I think Ink and Levin Cali came back, and I had just met those guys for the first time, and Levin was like, "Yo, I left you. You know, I was working on an idea. I left you something upstairs on my rig." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And he had left this incredible song, like this part of the song, and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." So while he went to eat, I finished. I went upstairs. I did this beat, and this thing was crazy. This is one of my favorite things that I did. Kehlani's like, "Oh, I don't know if it's for me." I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." First day, I finally sleep. I'm like, "Fuck." I'm like, "I don't know, like, what am I gonna do?" Like, at this point, it's like you're trying to pull out all the shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna sleep for a few hours." I go to sleep. I wake up. Beautiful DR, like, you know what I'm saying? You go upstairs in this all glass room, and I just stayed in there for like 4 hours, 5 hours working on stuff. Kehlani comes in. She goes, "Hey, would you want to like help me with this idea that I have?" And she plays me this vocal, and it's like a bass line to it. And I was like, "Oh, this is crazy, bro. What do you mean? Like, this is the song. This is it." So I was like, "Can you just give me that?" I was like, "Just give me the vocal and the bass line thing." And we couldn't get the stems for the bass line, so DTB plays the bass line over on his while he's talking to me. Literally, we're walking from one bedroom where the studio is to the other bedroom. In this time, this man has pulled up Diva in his laptop, and he's playing out the bass, replaying the bass line
that he heard.
And he sits there and he goes, "Oh yeah, I sent you the bass line." I was like, "Okay, cool. What the fuck?" My shit's already set up. I import the 2-track of the vocal, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something crazy with this." So I take this song, and at the time it was called "Selfish," and I had taken this song and like, man, I don't know, that thing I said where I'm like, I don't remember what happens. It's kind of you black out. 10 minutes later, the beat's done. And like literally 10 minutes and DTP's like, "Holy shit, bro." So he's like, you know, now the entire room is glass, right? So it's like you can see from the pool, and everybody downstairs can see up. People start coming in the room, and they're like, I when Tosh came in, Tosh, like homie, she's like, "This is fucking crazy." And then like somebody else comes in, you can just see people like just like losing their mind.
It's like that viral video where everybody's walking up and getting slapped.
But dude, yes, sonically. So like, you know, and then I think maybe 30-40 minutes goes by. I think I don't know. I think Kehlani would have like seen us from like the pool, and she came and she goes, "What is everybody coming here?" And she said, "Play it." As I played it from the beginning, she goes. And she had not been in the mood to like cut anything. She was like not in. I played like the first, like when the beat drops on that song, she's like, send me everything. She's like, "Give me the stems. I need all this shit. Like, we're gonna go cut this right now." And they cut it that day. And I remember everybody kept coming up to me like, "Yo, like, thank God, like that there was something that like got her excited to like cut these records again." And I was like, I was just so excited that she reacted the way she did. And from that song, months go by, I don't hear anything, right? I left the DR maybe like 5 days later, super broke. And my girlfriend picks me up and she goes, "How was it?" I was like, "It was the craziest fucking amazing time like ever working with this person." And she was just so fucking cool. Like everybody there, like I think the best part about it was not only was Kehlani dope, it was just everybody around her that was there was like the fucking nicest person, bro. Everybody would be like, "Yo, you need like coffee? I'm going downstairs to get some food. You want some?" I was just blown away by like how dope the people that she has around. I was like, "Oh, this is why this works. This works because of this. Because of these people, they really like." And she herself, she's just incredible. So like not only as like an artist, but like as at what she does, and as a person, she's just phenomenal. So months go by, don't hear anything, and I'm like, this is like now February the next year. So it's August, September, March. You know, March. So September, October, November, December. With just, I'm like, yo, how many years is this gonna be? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's, you know, you start thinking about some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, start thinking.
Should I work at Starbucks?
Should I? Yeah. Should they really know my real name?
Am I Sam, or will they know me as Samik?
But I get a text message from Marielle, and Marielle hits me and was like, "Yo, they used parts of Selfish on this song. You're on the album." I was like, I liked my girlfriend. I was like, she's like connecting you with her manager. I was like, okay, what, bro? And I was so excited that I was so excited about the song because the song to me was like so fucking fire. Mm-hmm. But then she had said they had used parts of my song. And I was like, okay.
Which parts?
So, I got to go in and hear it. So her manager calls me. She's like, come in. I want to play it for you. So I went to the office and heard it. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, this is a whole different song. But it's fire. And I know the parts that are in there.
The crazy thing is so this is Tears.
Yeah, it's just Tears.
And when I heard it, to me, it sounded so much like you. I sort of thought that you had only exclusively produced it.
Oh, no. It's me, Jack Rashawn, ATN, Guilty Beats. There's like mad people on that record. Ink's on that record. Like,
even the way it was mixed, it felt like you're mixing or very close to it.
I mean, I don't know. I know that they had my song, and I know they've tried, because I remember watching an interview where Kehlani was talking about it. They reworked that song so many times, and I know that song I just knew when I did the first version of that song. I was like, yo, there is something about this record that this is so. There's especially this second verse in that song where I'm just like, yo, this is it, and then. I'll play it for you later, but the beat switch at the end of it, like the whole record changes into something else. And I remember when I played that switch, it was such a moment in that record. So that if you listen to the switch in that record, that's like the record is like literally, it's a different version of that song that I did. Wow. But it's still like, it keeps that, like the excitement of that song is like phenomenal. Like I'm like, oh wow, they like really like one-upped whatever I added to that. So
they kept your flavor though.
It kept the flavor, and I was just like, this is really
because
dope. But I mean,
sensed it.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing that that's what you got from it. That's what you felt from it.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean that's a collaboration thing like all the way around where people have like really like chopped up and like made that thing to what it is.
No, but I mean, it was people who were paying attention to what the original vibe was because, and like it's not like it sounds like everything you've done. Like you've evolved so much, but like it sounded like, oh, this very much feels like the drums felt very much like drums that you would pick. The structuring of the chords felt very much like something that you would do in more recent times specifically. So, I mean, whatever was going on, clearly the other people involved are just super talented and were able to, I'm always talking about our job is to capture the intention and the essence of what's there and then try and make the best version of that for the context. Yeah. And I think they did that then.
No, for sure. Because when I heard it back and I was like, at first you're trying to be like, oh, what parts did they exactly take? And it's just like, oh, wait, no, it's like you kind of have to zoom out and like see, like there are, audible parts like of the thing from before, but that are in the new version. But it's just like, it's a whole new thing now. So it's like you barely, you barely recognize the thing as it was, but like it's definitely there, like the essence of it. And I think that's really, really crazy. So yeah, I mean, that's a song I can listen to and be detached from, being like just enjoy it. I think that's probably, that whole experience of working on those. Because I did like 2-3 songs ideas when I was there, and that was just one of them that made it. So I was like, that's cool.
Oh. Story time with Symphony.
Yeah, man.
Stories.
This is like for real story.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm learning so much about not only you but also you. Yeah, I'm getting so much unexpected.
Well, we have so much like history. I mean, together. I feel like in terms of like working out of the same studios, working on the same projects, working on each other's stuff. It's like it's there's paths that are always intertwined. Like mine and Matt's path is always intertwined. Cadence, myself. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always people that are the common thread in between. The whole overarching story. It's like a Marvel movie. I feel like it's like a bunch of Marvel movies into one whole.
Very much. There's Easter eggs everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I'm here for it. I mean, what is something that you take from like these long-lasting relationships? Like, what's something that you could tell people who want to build relationships like that last 10, 15 years?
I mean, I don't know if it's. I feel like certain people are just placed in your life.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's just how much you I don't know. Certain people just end up clicking, right, and becoming good friends over time, and like that they just are interwoven into your life. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that we all happen to do music is like a secondary thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's also like we're actually like all friends and shit. So first, so I think how you do that, I don't know. Be cool with your friends. I mean, like, just don't be a dick. I feel like maybe.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people say, like, especially in Los Angeles, because that's where we're at right now.
Well, I mean, it's a genuine thing, right? You have to genuinely connect with someone.
You have to actually care.
Yeah, you have to actually care about the person. So I feel like that's a big part of it. I mean, and then relationships like ours, like this is 21 years, right?
Yeah,
so
how'd y'all do it? How'd you do it?
I mean, I guess there was one period where we had a little bit of conflict.
Yeah, there's a little bit. That was not our fault.
That was brief though.
It was brief.
And then that was because I was going through some personal stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's a how. I feel like it's really like, how would we not? Because we've always clicked so well. And then on top of that, I guess if I were to turn this into advice for somebody, it would be to understand the value of a relationship, a good, like the relationship I have with Ran.
Yeah.
I still work with Ran.
Yep.
And I've known him before I know you.
Yeah.
I still work with you. I still work with Joe, who's on my channel now. Yeah. These kinds of things. Joe. Yeah, Joe is amazing. And the value of a good relationship in life is so much bigger than like whatever when you're young you think the goals are, like a record placement or making money in a session or whatever it is. That stuff is really not nearly as important, both in terms of career and just in terms of like having an enjoyable life.
Yeah.
So
that was a huge gem. That was great Weiss advice.
That was great advice.
How did you answer an unanswerable question?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Magic.
I feel like I've asked a lot. I feel like it's your turn.
But anyway, so like, how do you make kicks hit hard?
I call Matt. I'm like, yo, how do I know? You know what? Sound selection is everything. We should probably talk about music, right?
A little bit.
I feel
like maybe talk about music.
I'm Man and Eli, who do the editing for this show.
Sorry, guys.
We apologize, and we love you. And
sweating bullets over here.
We'll work out a couple of things, like
there's alcohol in the fridge.
Right.
No, I mean, drink. How do kicks hit hard? How do kicks hard?
Let's do it. So okay, let's say you want to arrange a record.
Sure, yeah.
How do you figure out, like a lot of people do the puzzle piece idea where they go, okay, this is my lows, this is my mids, this is my highs. I don't think you do that.
No, I just throw like to me it's melody, right? Melodies is king. Melody is everything. And
top line or music melody?
And everything.
Anything and everything.
The melody is, for me, the biggest thing. Even when I was doing hip hop for like 12 years, melody. How do you get melody out of, rappers? You know what I'm saying? Like people who rap. How do you get, you learn, you bring things to the table where it's like, oh no, well, why don't you like say it in a little higher pitch of a voice? Or like maybe project this a little bit louder at this part. Have a little dynamic in it, right? Mm-hmm. I think to me, melody's always the first thing that I try to go for. So before I add drums now, before it used to be drums first for a lot of that beat battle stuff.
It still is for me.
Really?
Yeah, pocket.
So I like pocket with melody.
Yeah,
right?
Well, so you're a better producer. You've literally always been a better producer. Well, so there you go.
Well, it's pocket. Having. We briefly talked about this before all this is timing, right? For me, timing is such a big thing, right? And swing and groove, right? So groove and melody, those are the two big things. You can put drums on whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? The biggest thing that I learned in the last few years is like my drums now come last. My drums are like,
that's wild.
It's wild because you get the entire picture of everything. Like, again, like I said, this beat, doing beat battles, you're making beats how do I impress these producers that you're friends with, that you got the hardest kick drum,
Right.
Bro, ain't nobody give a fuck about how loud your kick drum is, your snare is in making records. Ask if anyone gives a fuck what espresso's. Bro, espresso to me is like that sound. That song sounds so fucking good. Like the melodies, everything. The drums are cool. Like, but
it's more about the personality of the drums. It's not about how hard they hit.
It's not about the. Yeah. It's not about that. You know, it's just an example. But like, it's not about, yo, this really knocks. It used to be like, there's so many eras in music that I feel like I've gone through from when I started. It's just kind of like that has become kind of secondary, right? In what I do personally, right? Because I'm not doing as much hip hop these days, and when I do, you know, that when it calls for it, then I'll put some hard shit on the record. But like for the most part, I just want it to sound good, right? I just need the things the sound selection, like I said, is so important. So drums, like, you know, whatever drums are in the record are like, okay, well, this is gonna have a nice groove to it. It's gonna glue things together. But for me, it's always melody first, get the groove of the thing going, and then I'll cut the record on top of that, and then I'll put the drums on it. I'll put some fucking shitty drums on, whatever. Not shitty, but I'll put drums up where I'm just like a placeholder. Where I'm like, okay, this is going to be good enough for right now.
But you're also, so this is one of the things that, you know, the debate online is like, what is a producer? Is the guy who makes beats a producer? Actually, before I even interject these ideas, could you quickly define what a producer does?
There's so many answers to that particular question. I'm just going to go with my own definition. Producer controls the room, the energy in the room, more like that's and if you can do the other things, because I can do the other things, I usually end up doing the other things as well. Engineering the record, vocal producing the record, putting the drums on, playing the guitar, playing the bass, doing the backgrounds if I need to, telling them how to do the backgrounds. I mean, I don't have to do that with everybody, but like there are situations that warrant it. But being able to also work with people and be like, yo, know when to step back, know when to be like, yo, no, you're dope at this, you got it, you gotta do that, make that sound fucking dope. I'll come in and edit if I need to, but like it's more about making sure that the room is cohesive and working together well, and then you're maintaining that energy, right? You're maintaining the energy in the room. And then also your responsibility is to make a dope ass fucking song.
That's where my definition is that part where it's the producer is the person responsible.
Yeah.
You're the one who the shit's gonna roll downhill and it's gonna stop with you.
And it's all on your name. Yeah. Your name is on the line for that. Yeah.
So the thing that I find that a lot of my favorite producers do, and also you, no, I'm just playing. So, you know, unsurprising that you do this as well, is that once the vocal becomes part of the song, then you take it back and then finish the production. Yeah. It's not like the production finishes itself and then vocals flop on top.
Right, yeah.
So
I'll finish the record, essentially, like you said. Once we have the song, to me, I'm like, get the song out. Get the song out of it's like you have a limited window of time to get the original feeling of the thing out. We can come and workshop this shit all day, but like get that feeling out first, and then let's figure out how to, you know, finish it later. But I need this person to be able to give that part of themselves. That's not an easy thing for any writer or artist to do.
And
like,
when the window's closed,
it's closed. It's closed. For some people, you can never open that shit again. They're not going to be able to record that shit the same way with the same feeling, the same tone. Like
it's so frustrating too when you want to.
Yeah, for sure. But and it you know, there's no. I think making it feel like no effort is the most important thing. Is making them feel like they don't have to. You don't have to do too much. There's a video that we did actually with Cadence. Remember the Machine Master shit that we did? So there was the session that Cadence and I were asked to do. And we did it at the studio. This is like the first week that I was in LA.
This is for anybody who's ever had like a bad moment and thinks that you'll never get through it. This one,
it's a great video to watch for that reason.
That session was one of the worst sessions.
Yeah.
Both in terms of what I was getting and in terms of what I was giving. I made an ass of myself. I was treated like an ass. Like, it was both directions.
It was a lot.
Like,
It was a lot. That was a rough first moment in LA.
Oh, no.
But
I need to, first of all, I have to say when we're bringing this up, Cadence, I love you so much. I think I have so much respect for Cadence that, like, me coming off as a dickhead in that session is one of the worst moments that I can remember in my life.
Oh, no.
bro, and the worst part about this is it was all like live streamed. So all of it was live streamed. So they gave us 4 hours in the studio to make this record. And this is one of those things where it's like, you know, what is a producer, right? So my responsibility is making sure that Cadence gets out the thing that she needs to get out, right? She's going to do everything she can in her power to make the thing dope, obviously. But I'm being sent VSTs that don't work. My Pro Tools rig keeps crashing. And that was the day that I decided I'm done with Pro Tools. Even though I'm still on fucking Pro Tools for vocals. For vocals. It's just fucking great. Anyway, so everything was going wrong. And then finally the guy was like, yo, I'm sending you a sample pack. By that time, we had burned 3 hours. And we also didn't have autotune in that studio. You didn't have autotune. You had Waves tune. Yep. I was like, so that shit, like, I don't know if we use that. But that shit was like painful, right? But I still got the skeleton. Within like 20 minutes, made the beat. And Cadence wrote it in maybe 15. We recorded it in about 30, 40 minutes. We got the thing done, right? It was very, very last minute. It's literally, the video for this thing is 5 minutes long. The last minute is where everything happens.
Oh my God.
Literally, the last minute of that video is the thing actually happening. But for 3 hours, it was just painful process. But the responsibility is get the thing done. Make sure the thing is dope. And then I went back and I redid the fucking production on it a little bit, touched it up. Sample stayed the same. Drums got beefed up. Music got beefed up a little bit more. And then that was it. I worked with what I had, the 2-track of the vocal, tuned it, whatever. Like, and then the song was released. Wow. And I was like, okay, great. Like, we made it. We made it to the finish line. So I think that's kind of like the job is to get the job done. Your job is to get the job done because you're responsible for all this shit.
Right. And I think sometimes people assume that you just get into a session and that's when things start. And like things just start happening right away. No. That's why I tell people also when they're booking sessions, like it's good to have 4 to 6 hours because sometimes it's the last 10 minutes, or the last 15 minutes when you get the gold magic. And sometimes we have clients that want to book like 2 or 4 hours. Even 4 hours is like the shortest I would go. But even 2 hours, I'm like, what are you going to get done in 2 hours? The first 30 minutes is like, hey, what's up? And
no, for sure.
These are the moments where you learn that when you have a session, you come in early.
Yeah.
To do that. To have your little powwow. And then by the time the session
in LA,
starts,
no one's on time.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not on time. Sorry. I am. I try to be better about this year. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just you're responsible for all this shit.
But that's more of like executive production, I would say, right? Like,
well, I mean,
when you're,
it's like I said, if you have the skill and ability to do all the things, and if you have people who also know how to do all the things, and you don't have to do it, like there's records that I barely lifted a finger on. Luckily enough, where it's just been like, yo, all right, cool. All these people are great at what they do. He's going to play drums. He's going to play bass. I'm going to be like, hey, let's get this. I'll basically work with the writer. I'll help write the record if I need to help write the record. It's still making sure all these things work. Because if my name is on that for that day as producer, then that's still your responsibility. And whether you are playing you're a bass or whatever, I can play bass. If I know Dre's around and Dre plays bass like crazy, guess who's playing bass? Not me. You know what I'm saying? Dre's gonna be playing bass. Yeah. But that's the thing. A lot of that is just being able to communicate in the language, right? And I think that there's an ability to harness all that energy and then put it into the song, and then that's why a lot of people be like, oh, well, I didn't have to do anything, or this person didn't come in and touch a button or whatever. And it's like, but they got their name on as producer. Bro, I've seen people do it.
Yeah.
And I've done it myself. And it's the same job. It's the same job. It's the same job if you're sitting there and you're typing all the commands and you're EQing everything. But also, there are people who might know some shit that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? They might have a little bit of an edge on you in this one thing, and that one thing might end up translating into the record and might be a thing that really like brings that to a different place.
Right.
So
I would sort of describe the difference, like the idea of what a producer is, like this. If Samik sends me a record to mix, I mix it the way I want to mix it. But then I send it back to him.
And he has to approve.
He's going to be the guy who says, yes, this is it, or no, this is not. Because if the record succeeds, he does well. If the record fails, he looks bad.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy who mixed it. I'm somewhere in the middle there. So it's the person who says, yes, this is the vision. This is what's going to succeed in the marketplace. That is the producer.
Yeah.
And so it's a big job that sometimes, Rick Rubin becomes very controversial in that one.
Sure, yeah.
But you then look at how many records he has sold, and it's like, he's got a
He
good
knows
idea.
something.
He knows something.
Yeah.
It's apparently not playing any instruments or working a soundboard. He's very happy to say all the things he doesn't do.
For sure. And that's the thing. I have a hard time with it too. I have a hard time being like, man, you ain't touch nothing. You ain't do nothing. And then I have to remind myself of those sessions where I've seen it, where I've seen someone come and be like, hey, this needs to be this, and this needs to sound like this, and that doesn't sound like this, so you need to do something to make it sound like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's a skill set to delegate and to know who's good at what and to know who to trust.
It's just, and you have to trust, more than anything, you just have to know, you have to trust your ears. I feel like you're having the sensibility of taste, right? Taste is everything. As a producer, your job is to have taste. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is.
That is what it is.
That is what it is.
That's what it is.
So thanks for being with us here today on Passionate with Patchbae and Matt Weiss and Symphony. It's been a great time. I hope you liked all the stories, all the lore, and catch us next time. We'll be at NAMM soon.
We'll answer a question next time.
Maybe one.
Maybe one.
Maybe a half of one.
Probably not.
Probably not. It's okay. It's gonna be the first time people are gonna get to know some parts of you.
I feel like
strangely enough, we interviewed you.
Yeah, like it kind of feels that way a little bit, actually. Like
it's because you sat in the middle.
It's low key. It's matched in with Patchbae.